Hi, my name is Deb Johnston and welcome to Women Reinventing Midlife TV, where we aim to inspire women over 50 to thrive in a meaningful life that you deserve. Here we share real life stories from women over 50 to inspire you to reinvent your life, career, business, relationships, health, in fact, any aspect of life. We also share tips and content on mindset, wellness, and style to guide you to build confidence and increase vitality in your 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. And today we have an incredibly inspirational story to share with you because I'm joined by Helen Jane. Helen is a best-selling author. She's a certified energy alignment assessor and mentor. She's a coach and a clinical hypnotherapist. And at the age of 48, after years in the travel industry, she was forced to change direction after major back surgery, depression, and burnout. And now she's on a mission to help other women set themselves free from expectations of others in society to rediscover themselves. That's a heartfelt message. I love it. I love it. I love that because it really resonates with me as well. I love what you do. Helen, welcome. Welcome.
It's a privilege to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm really, really glad you've joined me. And wow, forced to change direction. That's pretty full on. And I'm sure we'll discuss more of this as we move through, but that tends to be the kind of theme, doesn't it, in this phase of life. So tell us a little bit about your change of direction, because it sounds like it was pretty major.
Yes, it was very major. So as you mentioned, at the age of 48, and actually 48 and a half it was.
Yeah.
So as you said, I've been working in the travel industry for a long, long time. And I knew, when you've got that feeling deep down inside, that it's just not what I want to be doing. And of course, I ignored the messages and I just carried on with my day-to-day living. So I was working at Manchester Airport, was made redundant, and I went to on-call cabin crew. I worked for British Airways. And, I remember going off on a trip. It's supposed to be so glamorous, isn't it? And so it's such a wonderful lifestyle. And there are elements which are, but I hated leaving my son, who was 17 at the time. And I was literally crying as I was going off to work. And just hated it, but I wasn't listening. I was terrified so I had a choice when I was made before I was made redundant from the airport of taking redundancy and doing something completely different, but I didn't have the courage to do it.
Oh, wow.
And it's almost as if we live these lives for other people as well. So I was just continuing on this treadmill. I was exhausted, I was burnt out, I hated my life. Shortly after that, following the back surgery, I lost my relationship, I lost my home. It was like the whole world fell apart, literally, and I was left staring into this black hole thinking, oh my God. And also at that point, my son, I'd been a single parent since he was 3 years old, and my son went to live with his father. So I wasn't around.
Oh gosh.
Worse, honestly. I couldn't imagine a worse scenario.
Oh gosh, I really sympathize there because I was a single mum too, and it really hits hard, doesn't it? And of course, at some point they're probably going to want to go and live with their father, right? When you're separated, it's natural, especially if if they're male, if it's a son, for sure. But God, it really hits hard.
Yeah, it is. And I think part of the reason he went to live with his father was because it was easy for him, because his father lived closer to the school. He was in his last year at school before he went to uni. But it was that empty nesting feeling really hit hard as well. So it was just a whole catalogue of events that led up to this reawakening, I suppose is the only word to call it. Or this realization I wasn't living my life with any purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a real culmination of so many things. Like your health was affected, your family life was affected as well, that empty nest thing that so many of us go through. But interesting that you hadn't been happy going away from your son, because obviously it was dawning on you, hey, the time we got together is coming to a close soon. I need to make the most of this. And you even had the opportunity, but you didn't take it.
I know, and you know, sometimes we look back at those pivotal moments, don't we? And we start to think, what if? And I'd already started to become interested in personal development. I'd already studied life coaching, but I was just consumed with this fear and this complete lack of confidence. You know, it was almost as if, the fear was all consuming. I felt like I was too old to start anything new. And 48, I was 48. But you know, those voices in your head telling you that, well, it's too late for you now. You need to carry on this path because this is the path you've chosen. And when I look back now, I think things could have been so different even all those years ago. I'm so grateful for the way things have worked out. And I know people say that's a bit of a cliche, but I really am grateful now, because I wouldn't be where I am now if there hadn't been that whole catalogue of situations.
And that's generally the case, isn't it? And we forget all that when we're about to take that step into the unknown and do something really different. We forget about all the times that we've done that in the past, and how that's led to now. And as we get to this stage, we're about to step into the unknown, and we think, oh my God, you know, is it too late? And what if it doesn't work out the way I want it to? And am I making a mistake? But it was the things that didn't work out in the past that led us to where we got to anyway. And that's all part of the journey. And
I sometimes wonder whether actually there is a journey that is our journey. And, you know, as I said to you before, I was really ignoring the signs, and that little voice in my head was going on, is this all there is? There must be more to life than this. And what if? You know, what if I tried this? What if I tried that? But I never took the action to change my life at that point until I was 40.
So okay. So major back surgery. And the depression, was that a result of the back surgery? Did that lead on from that?
I think it was the result of everything. So, but I think so I had major back surgery. I lost my relationship. That was major as well. And I lost my income. So I remember lying in bed after the surgery. I was in chronic pain as well, which I think helped create the anxiety and the depression. And I just couldn't see a way forward. And I remember one day thinking, I just can't carry on. It was a summer's day, it was July, beautiful summer's day. And yet everything around me felt cold. And I'd sort of thought, I can't do it anymore. I'd decided I was going to end it all. But then something happened, and I just saw such clarity that I was meant to do more than I was actually doing, and you know, everything would work out. So it was a very, very dark time for me. And I look back now, it's almost like it was a different life. It was a different person. But it was a very, very painful time. But also, it was the beginning of the new me, because from there, the things started to come together a little bit more. You know, and it does take courage, doesn't it?
Massively.
And when your confidence is completely shot as well. So it takes an awful lot of confidence, but everyone can do this. And you know, there's nothing special about me that I have the courage to get through it. Everyone can do it. And you know, my confidence still dips because I'm now an older lady, even still. You know, I'm 60 now, so it's I still have bits in confidence,
Yeah.
and I still have that voice sometimes. Oh, is it too late? But you know what? It's never too late.
Never too late. And you know what? I think we all do. Like, we all do. And when we're about to do something new, I do. I feel doubtful. I wonder if it's the right thing for me, or I wonder, whether I'm going to be good at it, or there's always that little, and it, I've been stepping out of my comfort zone for years now, and I do it multiple times a year, but I still experience that feeling, that little bit of self-doubt, but I've done it that often that I'm able to wipe it away pretty fast and step through it. But yeah, I agree. And so it does take courage. It's not about waiting until you feel more confident and then doing it, because the confidence comes with the step, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And I think it's, as you say, it's a natural thing when you're pushing the boundaries a little bit. It's natural, isn't it, to feel that, is this right? Or can I do this? And as you say, the only way we actually gain confidence is actually by doing it.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, even celebrities say the same thing, don't they? That there is that lack of confidence until you do it.
Yep. And it's the same for all of us. And and I know that there's probably a number of women watching this and thinking, yeah, well, that's all right for you. But it's the same for everybody. We're all exactly the same in that way. It's just the way human beings are wired, that we that protection part of our brain just rises up and tries to protect us. It's just natural. Just some of us experience it more than others. That's all. And that's really based on how often you exercise that muscle of doing something new. And that's all it is. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, solid brain keeping you safe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's just its job, but unfortunately, in this modern world, it's overdoing its job.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
It is. So, okay, so you all of a sudden had a moment of clarity, and you've described this to me as an out-of-body experience. So tell us a bit about that. That really intrigues me.
Oh, does it? Right. Okay. So how can I describe it? So I'll go back first of all to when I was a child.
Yeah.
And I was 10 years old, and I was very, very ill, very, very poor. And I was in an ambulance on the way to hospital. And I was floating above the ambulance. I was looking down at what was going on in the ambulance. And I remember a white tunnel. Yeah. And my auntie, who passed away, was at the end of this tunnel. And she was saying to me, go back, it's not your time. And obviously I went back and I didn't die at that point. So this was a very similar situation. So I said to you, it was a summer's day. It was very hot outside, unusually for the UK. But in the room I was in, it was my bedroom, it was so cold. And I got that feeling again that I was starting to float. And again, it was that feeling of a white tunnel.
Wow.
And I got a sense again that it's not your time, go back. It's not your time. And it felt so calm and so reassuring that all the worry and the anxiety at that point in time, it all just disappeared. And I felt so held and just in the perfect place.
Wow. And that came out of the blackness.
It did.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because I was in a very dark place, very, very dark place. And that was really the turning point there.
Wow. And you came out of it, like you said, with great clarity.
Great clarity that I was here for more. Yeah. I was here for a purpose. I didn't know what the steps were. I didn't know how to move it forward, but it just seemed at that point in time that I had a knowing. Yeah. And I think this thing that quite often we're sort of looking outside ourselves, aren't we? When actually the purpose and the knowing comes from the inside. And there's nothing outside that can fix us. Yes, we can get help and support from other people, but we have to be true to us.
Yeah.
We have to go in. And I think that's true of so many women, that we're taught to look out and to help everybody else, but we don't help ourselves.
Yeah.
So
Yes, so true. And we create the expectations that others have of us too a lot of the time, because of the way that we've behaved. Yeah.
And what we've been taught.
Yeah.
As well, I think.
Yeah, yes, that's right. Yeah, by society.
Many generations. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I love that, because knowing you had clarity that you were here for more, that you had a purpose, and purpose is like a really hot topic for women in this phase of life, because that's that question, what's my purpose? And I think a lot of the times we expect it to pop up and say, well, you're meant to be doing this job and working with this place, and that's your purpose. But purpose is a lot deeper than that, isn't it? Because your purpose can be fulfilled in lots of different ways, lots of different work, not just one, not even work sometimes. It's And
I think we have multiple purposes as well, depending on the stage of life. And I think sometimes as human beings, we think the purpose is sort of out there somewhere in front of us. But in actual fact, we don't have to have one purpose, as you say, we have many purposes.
Yeah.
Again, to me, the purpose is actually connecting with you and finding out what truly makes your heart sing, and that's your purpose.
Yeah, which is the part of rediscovering themselves. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it is. It's doing what, when you're doing something that makes your heart sing, it's most definitely connected to your purpose, for sure. Yeah. So you resisted it, right? You actually resisted it before you hit rock bottom. And I know that a lot of women do that. I've done it myself. I did it for about 12 months, and I actually hit the blackness before I listened as well. And it was something that was tugging away at me, but I was going, no, I'm doing what I'm doing. No. It's too late for me to start another, it's too late for me to start something new. That's what I said to myself, but it really wasn't. I was just adding another branch, right? But so many of us do that, and it takes a significant event. Mine was the death of my father. So it takes a significant event. Why do you think we do it? Why do you think we do it? Why did you do it?
Why did I do it? I think because I was so blinkered and I was so detached from my feelings. I knew I was unhappy.
Yeah.
It was almost as if I was ignoring what was going on. I wasn't taking care of myself because I was so busy looking after everybody else, and I didn't really value myself. And I think we get these little signs that we know we're not living how we really want to live, but we've been taught that actually life is hard, life isn't meant to be easy. All these little things that we're taught as children, and then as women, especially as women, I think we're taught that we have to sacrifice our needs and our desires for other people. And I'd been on that path for so long that I was just completely lost. And it took that major event for me to then have the space and the time to reconnect with me.
Yeah.
It was like I was living this life and I was a shell.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Completely disconnected with who I was, what my life was about, and what I really wanted out of life. Was on that proverbial treadmill, just going on and on and on without any real focus on where I was going and what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I think that's really common as well, because we get caught up in the busyness of life, don't we?
Yeah. I love the way you described it. I was blinkered. Yeah, and I think that's what happens, and we do become really blinkered when we don't try new things. We do get really blinkered. Yeah.
And I think also, there's the outside influences. So as I say, I was a single mum with my son, and I was very aware that I was the breadwinner. And if I wasn't earning money, where would it come from? And then on the occasions that I did talk about doing something different, because I enrolled at college to do a degree in psychology, and all the, not all of them, but some of my peers and my mum, and my dad had passed away by then, my brother, were very questioning, why are you doing that? You've got a good job. You should stick at what you're good at. You're good at doing what you do. And you really question yourself, don't you? And think, oh, perhaps I'm going to make a mistake. Perhaps I should listen to everybody else.
Yeah, that's what we're trained to do, aren't we? Leave school and get a good job. And yeah.
And stay there to get your pension.
Yeah, exactly. And you did have a good job. The thing is, it wasn't lighting you up. It stopped lighting you up. And maybe it did once, but it had stopped doing that. And
I'm very grateful for the job that I had. I absolutely adored it up to a point, but then I outgrew it, I think, and I wanted something different. But talking about purpose again, I look back now and I look at the jobs that I have had, and I can see how it's been preparing me to do the work that I do now. So everything happens for a reason, as they say.
Yeah.
And there's no mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because when you're working in customer service, you're doing a people role, and that's what you're doing now. You're doing a people role, the same thing. Not the same job, but a similar. You're using the same. You're using the same values. You're meeting the same values, and you're using the same skills. So to connect with people. So it's really interesting, isn't it? And it prepares you to get to where you are now. And I think if we all take the time to reflect back at our lives, we can see the similar threads, but we got to look for them.
Yeah. And I think that's key, taking the time. We live in this sort of 24/7 world, don't we? And we don't often, unless we're more conscious, we don't often take time out just to stop and literally do nothing. It's almost as if we feel guilty if we do that. But for me, it's so important. And as I say, I was forced to stop. And it's a very painful process to go through when you're forced to stop, just as you were.
It is very painful.
I have to be like that.
Yeah, and so you were 48, and I know that a lot of women experience this in their 50s. I've seen women experience it in their 60s as well. And I spoke on a panel just recently, and the information that was shared there is that women become their most ambitious at 55, and they actually peak in their career at 65, which is really great news. Yay! Yeah. I know. Yeah. Isn't it brilliant? So 48, it does happen around that. And a lot of women start to go into the menopausal period around that time, don't they? Around perimenopause. Yeah.
And I think that's another really big factor in all of this, in the sense of we reach menopause, and we're then sort of, it's almost like there's a stigma around, oh well, you've served your purpose now. You can't have children now. You have to almost sit in the corner and be quiet. And just let life fade away. Well, to me, that is totally ridiculous. I think we step into our power as we become older, and a lot of people talk about the wise woman, and to me that is so true. We lose the childbearing years, but we step into something which is much more powerful, much more empowering.
So much.
And there's all the things that come with menopause as well, the lack of confidence and the aches and pains, etc., but they can all be managed as well, can't they?
Exactly.
You need the information to do that. And again, menopause, as in older women, I think there's a lot of stigma around it. So in doing what you're doing and my contribution, hopefully we're opening up those discussions a little bit more.
Which they need to be, don't they? They really do need to be, because I hadn't a clue, because my mum died when she was 51. So I really hadn't a clue. I hadn't a clue. And it was only really when I look back on it, because I burnt out like you around menopause time. So I didn't know whether it was burnout or menopause. I hadn't a clue. Yeah.
Probably a combination of the two.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
Again, we're not prepared, are we? Because we don't talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I think that's changing a little bit.
There's
far
changing
more in the media now about menopause, which is brilliant. And you know, people are becoming, women are becoming more aware of what to expect. And I've had friends who think they're going crazy.
Yeah.
With menopause.
Yeah. And what's happening?
Yeah, I'm just going crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, there needs to be more discussion and more openness around all of this, midlife and menopause.
I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. So you actually went on to start your own business, and you
I did.
Yeah.
So when I left the airline, I was so fortunate because I joined a program called the Life Conditioning Program, which was run by the NHS at the time. I don't think they do it anymore. But I worked with a lovely life coach at that time, and she helped give me clarity as well. And then following on from that, I went actually retrained as a mental health practitioner, which again was my background with depression and anxiety.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to help people. And then following on from that, I decided I was then, how old was I then? Probably mid-50s, that I wanted to start my own business. So I started off with Reiki and coaching, and I had a lovely little practice going on in Darlington in the northeast. And then, of course, COVID hit, so that all fell apart. And currently what I'm doing now, because again, it's all about the midlife women, and my new business venture is called Her 48 and a Half.
Nice.
And that is going to be more online, more global. So we're just transitioning into that now. So it's never too late, is it? You know, I've had multiple careers, but it's all coming together with this now.
That's right. Yeah, well done. I love that. And it's really, I love, and I've done the same thing. It's your personal experience has inspired each of those steps, each of those passions of where you want to focus. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's uncanny in some ways. I've spoken to so many women now who have said, because often we think about the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. It's always when we hit that decade, isn't it?
Yeah.
But so many people I've spoken to have said, oh, yeah, I was 48.
Yeah.
Or I was 48 and a half. And it seems to be a real sort of transitional time.
Oh.
48.
48. Isn't that interesting?
Maybe it's just the women I've spoken to.
Yeah. Yeah, like attracts like. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
how
really
interesting. Been coined for 48 and a half. But yeah, I'm really excited about this new project. As I say, there's going to be online and in person strands to it. So yeah, really exciting.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And you know, obviously having that clarity has helped you take those steps as well. That clarity that you needed. Yeah. I think it's an essential component. That discovery of yourself, and then having that clarity, being able to think clearly, which is one of the issues that we have with menopause. We can't think clearly. And I think this adds to the problem, of the lack of clarity.
I think part of my journey was throwing myself into learning lots of different modalities as well. And I still am a perpetual learner. I'm sure I will be to the day I die.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think it's about trying to find the next thing which is going to fix you. Well, actually, nothing is going to fix you, because it's all about you and what's inside of you. No external thing is going to fix you. It's about taking the time to rediscover yourself.
Yeah.
So you can learn every modality in the world, which is fantastic because you've got more skills to share with people. But actually, it's understanding yourself and going back to you. Everything comes back to you.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, it is. You're like the central focal point of your world and your life. Yeah, absolutely. Helen, this has been a really exciting conversation and so insightful, and I'm sure really helpful for the ladies watching. Is there anything that you'd like to leave them with? Any words of encouragement or a tip in particular? I know you just shared a really brilliant one.
I've just got goosebumps at that question. So, oh gosh, I would say my biggest thing is, if you've got that voice inside of you saying there must be more to life than this, is this all there is? Take that time out for yourself to truly discover who you are and what you want. And it's never, ever too late.
It's never too late. Yeah, absolutely agree. Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you, Deb.
Yeah. Where can our viewers contact you? Where can they go to?
So probably because our new website's under construction at the moment, so it's the new program will be called Her 48.5. But you can connect with me on Facebook, and I've also got a website called creatingwellness.co.uk.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, and you will be able to find the live link to those connections to Helen in the description notes underneath this video. So I'll make sure that they're there. So you just have to click on it and you'll be able to connect with her if you want to. Helen, thank you so much. This has been amazing. You've got an amazing story, and thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Oh, thank you for letting me share, Deb. It's been an absolute honour, and keep doing the fantastic work that you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us. If you found this video inspirational or helpful, and I'm sure you did, then please feel free to give us a thumbs up. You can share the video with your friends. And if you would like to see more stories like this one and receive more tips on mindset, wellness, and style, remember to click subscribe underneath and click the bell for notifications so you don't miss out. I'll now look forward to connecting with you next time. Lots of love. Bye-bye.